Myself, I mean, my journey is not, a very rosy, so to say, but I had the only one fortunate I would call for myself that I've been surrounded by a lot of successful entrepreneurs, and that's what my journey I would call it. I will say that God has been gifted me that I got this company of thousands of entrepreneurs from starting of my journey. My journey is actually divided into my entrepreneur journey has been divided into three parts. One is what I call experimenting with entrepreneurship. Experimenting with entrepreneurship is like a default. You don't know when entrepreneurship hit you, but that's how it started. It was used in PR that I started in 16-year-old, but I'll tell you a 16-year story because a lot of people question me that 16 साल में आपने ऐसा क्या किया जो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था. So मैं आपको अपने 16 साल वाली स्टोरी सुनाता हूँ. So very unique story. I've never told this to anybody. Nobody knows this outside, but I'm sharing with first time with the BNN network.
So
I used to go to a tuition class, a maths tuition, and our teacher used to have 10, 12 kids in the class, like tuition classes are. And we also used to study. I used to see in the evening, he has a lot of boxes around his side, which used to say T series. T series, a cassette company, and these boxes used to be there. So as a 16-year-old, you used to ask the teacher and say, "Sir, isme kya hai T series? Aap kya lete ho itne boxes?" And he used to say, "No, this is not mine. My brother actually works in T series, and wo Himachal ko handle karta hai. I live out of Chandigarh, and his brother was used to handling a state called Himachal. And the T series उन दिनों के अंदर used to launch the movies, music at the same time. So music release होता था समझो Thursday को या Friday को, तो जो कैसेट थी वो पहले प्री लॉन्च होती थी और वो भी एक दिन होती थी, particular day, and everybody used to queue up to get that cassette for that movie or something like that. And because Himachal had a later distribution, so the cassettes for Himachal used to come at least 1 week before.
Okay.
So ये जो हमारा टीचर था, इसका ब्रदर, वो कैसेट्स इसके पास आ जाती थी. Then he used to take and small places in Himachal used to distribute, and then it was released on the same day at always used to be. So सब हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स थे जो क्लास में, they all used to tell the teacher and say, "Can I get one cassette in advance?" and so on and so forth. And there was a lot of excitement at that time for what movie is coming and so on and so forth. But I used to ask 10, 20 cassettes. And my teacher used to say कि तुझे 10 क्या करनी है या 20 क्या करनी है. So I used to say, no, मेरे friends हैं, family है. I used to obviously buy from him, and he used to give me a discount rate, a distributor rate as a teacher, and I used to buy these 20 cassettes and go back to my video library in the evening and actually sell them, and they used to get me a small margin, and my cassette used to get free. So that was my first beginning of my career journey. So I found to get something early and create a demand for that and make maybe a 2, 3, 5 rupees. I don't know what was that money. And so that's my 16-year-old journey. If anybody wants to know that what I did in 16 years, I used to actually source these cassettes and sell it to my own video library and get my cassette free. So that was my early stage of journey. And then I did multiple businesses and multiple opportunities. And I can tell you, most of them failed. So I have no shame to say that my own journey had a lot of failures. And I'm sure one of the messages I would like to pass to every entrepreneur who's listening to me is that never fear about this failure. This is a great thing to happen to you while you have to do some learnings out of that failure. My journey has huge failures. A lot of businesses I did had a lot of failures, and I'll talk about that in this session. So that was my experimenting, what I call with entrepreneurship. And then I did small businesses. I did career advisory. I used to get people admitted in schools and colleges and so on and so forth. So a lot of businesses I did in between. And then the time came where my parents started feeling that कि ये कब serious होगा, what he really wants to do, and so on and so forth. And my, what I call proving myself came. And this comes to everybody's life where you have to prove yourself. You need to prove yourself as an entrepreneur, and you need to tell that you are worth something and you can do something right. And that happened with me in 95. And 95, I started with telecom. So I became a distributor, and the mobile phones were coming, and I became a distributor with a mobile company called SR. SR and Airtel were the first two companies to come in, and it was new. I mean, I was just about 22 years or so, and I was given this responsibility to manage this new vertical. I was very excited. One of the areas which worked for me, and it would work for every entrepreneur, is locating an opportunity when it is just starting. And fortunately for me, uh, this has been always the time. I don't know. God has been kind to me that I locate an opportunity when it's just happening. So I saw this opportunity of becoming part of telecom in 95, which was just happening. And we used to get trained at that time कि SIM card क्या होता है, GSM technology क्या होती है, ये BTL towers क्या होते हैं, all these, we used to get training on that. And that was a good journey, and I was very successful for 2-3 years and made a lot of sense. And everything I did, everything which is in white and everything which was in gray, everything I did. So I would say white means that I was selling a lot of SIM cards, but उन दिनों फोन नहीं मिलते थे. मतलब ये लोग जानते नहीं है कि फोन नहीं होते थे, तब ग्रे में आते थे. तो मैं गुफार मार्केट में से फोन खरीदता था, ग्रे में स्मगल्ड फोन होते थे, और उसका रोज सुबह चंडीगढ़ में मैं रेट निकालता था कि आज S4 इतने का मिलेगा, कल ये जो नोकिया का फोन आता था, तो I used to set the rate in the morning, and that was fun time, that I really enjoyed. I did a lot of success at that time, made a lot of money. And then again, my story started in 98 and 97, I think so, because I made few lakhs, and or maybe more than that. I was very successful. And then I started investing everywhere. I started investing in almost everything which came across, from starting a nightclub to starting you tell me anything you thought about, any idea which used to come to me. People used to tell me कि अभी शाम को मुझे कोई बोल देता दोस्त कि ये सवेरे खोलते हैं, तो मैं उसमें पैसे लगा देता. I was saying what I was doing was foolishly investing, without even understanding. I was getting this high of making all the investments, and I can tell you, I lost all of those businesses, all these businesses. So that was my second period where I proved myself, and then I went becoming foolish and invested into a lot of businesses which I didn't know. I had no idea why I was doing it. Sometimes to impress a lot of other people around me, and I failed miserably. And then happened what happened to me, which was what I call credibility in my entrepreneurship. So first was experimenting, second was proving myself and telling my personal family goals, people around me, my family, and more importantly my parents, because उनको लगना चाहिए कि कुछ तो निकम्मा तो नहीं निकलेगा, कुछ तो करेगा. So I had to prove myself that I can also make something, right? And then third was I was doing for myself what I really wanted to do. And that journey started in, I think, 98 and 99. I traveled in US significantly. I had savings because of my mobile business, so I traveled almost every part of US, and went to every single place. And at that time, I was doing very unique thing. I was used to call these toll-free numbers on through a magazine, and used to call a company like Subway and say, "मैं आपकी franchise India में लेना चाहता हूँ." And people would say, "Okay, you come over, and we would like to understand what you do." And I used to tell the story that I'm the king of India and I want to take your brand to India, and so on and so forth. So I used to call all these franchise companies. And later I realized myself that I'm almost liking every brand. Every brand I used to get in the evening, decide that ये brand मुझे लेना है. And I told myself honestly, and this is one of the things which I tell every entrepreneur: be honest to yourself. You need to be honest to yourself. Sometimes you don't honest to your own self. So I became very honest to myself and said, मेरे पास तो इतने पैसे हैं नहीं कि मैं इतने सारे business खरीद पाऊँ. But I can take all these opportunities to India and help people in India who are like me, who are also looking for buying something for themselves, some business for themselves, and so on and so forth. And that's where the journey of Franchise India really started. And I still feel at heart to heart, I'm like that. I want to help other entrepreneurs. That's my journey, and that's where my beginning of what I call building my own credibility started. So I started with Franchise India and came back to India, closed all my businesses which were there, including those times I used to run a nightclub called Beverly Hills, and that was the only nightclub in Chandigarh which used to sell liquor. And so I closed. I called my brother and said, "Let's close it." He was a poor guy. Actually, when I went to US, I handed over to him, and he was studying in architecture college that time. And the poor guy used to go to college every day, and evening he used to go and DJ in the club. And I called him. I said, "We're closing all this, and we now found a new opportunity, and we want to focus only on this." And Franchise India was born in June 1999, and we started a .com at that time called franchiseindia.com. And a lot of people don't know that we started with a digital platform way back in '99. And then we started multiple things, and as the opportunity came up, we started working on creating exhibitions. We created advisory services and so on and so forth. And we took the company slowly to many folds and many other capabilities. And this opportunity was so exciting, it's so fueling for me. And still now, I work 365 days. I have not taken the last, I would say, 20 odd years, even Sunday off. I work because I enjoy my work. I not because I do it for somebody else or I've been pushed. I enjoy my work, and because I enjoy my work, I continue to put that kind of time. And what gives me enjoyment is that we are serving a lot of other entrepreneurs. We are helping other entrepreneurs to take most important decision of their life, which is buying a business. And God has been kind. So Franchise India grew many folds. It went to many markets. We were able to help millions and millions of entrepreneurs, and especially, directly we would have sold about 100,000 odd franchisees, people who run their businesses and so on. So I'll give you an example. One of the days I went to a small flower shop. It was a flower shop in Greater Clash. This has been about 10 years back. And it was raining. And I went into the store, small store. And this guy was handicapped and running the store. And so I told him to make a flower bouquet for me. And he made the bouquet. And once he was done, and then I said, how much is the money? We paid. He said, "Sir, आपसे नहीं लेंगे, आपके through ये business खरीदा था." So it was the biggest reward for me, because I was able to see somebody very successful or whatever he was doing, and because he was able to buy that business through me. So that's what my journey is. My journey is actually about helping entrepreneurs, and if I can make a little bit change in their lives and help them in terms of choosing what is right for them, that gives me the most satisfaction. So now I'll talk about a little bit about types of entrepreneurs. I don't want to stick to my journey, because my journey is very exciting about the entrepreneurs I got and people I met, and their life stories and their success stories, their failures, and so on and so forth. But there are three types of entrepreneurs I've found in my entire journey. I've actually written a book called Take Charge. And if you want a copy, I'll send it all of you. I can send to Vivek Bhai, and he can circulate to everybody else. That book is actually about a small business owner, which I feel by heart, I'm like that. By heart, I'm a small business owner. And I'll always be like that. So this journey is about, I divide this, there are three types of entrepreneurs in the market. One is what I call people who are called fear entrepreneurs. I personally feel I'm a little bit like that now. I was not like that earlier, but now I'm like that. Fear entrepreneurs are people who fear about losing more than they want to gain. These are they know how to. They have found their success story. They found their what I call success engine. They know how to make earnings. They want to make living for themselves, their lifestyle, their cars, their bungalows, and so on and so forth. But they are always about any decision they take, fear comes in the front. They are fear entrepreneurs. I'm like now. I will be honest. I'm these days behaving like a fear entrepreneur. I was very wild. I would say I was extremely wild. My wife tells me that you're very wild in terms of your entrepreneurial decisions. I used to buy a company and I sell a company with no pain. And even last 2 years have been extremely bad for me in terms of some of the investments I did was didn't pay off well. So now I'm a little bit of a fear entrepreneur at this stage. A lot of entrepreneurs I see now, especially young ones, I don't know why they are so much of in fear. Why they are in so much of fear of losing. And they start with that. They start with the answers of saying, "Is pe itni return to milni chahiye, itna to hona hi chahiye," and they have. I sometimes feel that they don't even know how to grow their businesses. They're not having any idea how they can take it to the next level. They're just being so fearful about whatever is happening around them. So if you are one fear entrepreneur, just take it out, and it's very important to come out of that. This is not a good situation to be in. So fear entrepreneurs is not something which I feel is great. Second is what I call the fun entrepreneurs. This state I like the most, because these are young startups, who found something and they're so excited, they're so charged up. And I see these mails from these young entrepreneurs coming to me every day. They send some idea and they're so charged about that idea. They're having a fun about it. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs are not having fun in whatever they're doing. They have no enjoyment in their business they do. They make some money here and there, that's okay, but they have no enjoyment. You imagine yourself that you spend about 10, 12 hours every single day into something which you don't enjoy, right? And a lot of people are actually, I would say, having a disease like this. It's a disease. You have to go every day to do something which you don't enjoy. So there are a lot of people are, if you're not enjoying and you are still in a fear entrepreneurship, come to a little bit of fun, and that's something which is important. Or maybe balance it. Maybe have a little bit fear, because we know we are all sometimes people from middle class, and we all have to protect ourselves. We all have to save some cash from a diversity, but we also have to have some fun. We need to have some fun to have that excitement of building our enterprises or businesses and so on. And third is what I call exceptional entrepreneurs, which have a big time fantasy. And these are exceptional. These are people which have a dream in their mind. They have something which they want to really create for the world, and they are not driven from buying the next car or buying the next bungalow or a resort or a flat in Dubai or this and that. They are not driven from that. They are people who are driven from changing the world, and they're very few. And there's another actually quotations called only 1% of the world people in the world change the world, and 99% people saw the world changing. So only 1% change the world, and these are the people who change the world. So some of you may be like that, and they are not really thinking what is their purpose and what is their larger goal in life and so on and so forth. So my message to you today is that if you are in this whole fear world, and you need to come to a little bit fun. I have a good friend, and Vivek Bhai might know him very well because he's also a cricketer, and Nilesh Kulkarni. So Nilesh is a dear friend of mine, and he also played like Vivek Bhai professional cricket. And so he runs now a sports academy. And he was telling me that I want to run a business program run by sports people. And he wanted my entrepreneur program by sports people. I said, how would sports guys would teach entrepreneurship? He says, they are the best, because if they play 100 days, 99 days they lose. Only one day they actually win. And they're the best guys to teach, because they are the one who get 99 days going to every day of working hard and failing, and only one day you win. And he says, if you want to be a Sachin Tendulkar, you might be lucky that you win 3 days out of that 100. And he was joking himself, if you're Nilesh Kulkarni, you will probably be 1 day out of the 100. So that's the difference. Everybody fails, and they fail more. So don't worry about that failure in your life, and you need to have some fun in your life, and enjoy yourself. So this is a little bit of my journey. I'll go deeper into a little bit on entrepreneurship. But before I do that, I would like to have a poll with all of you, because I see now about 150 people out there. How many of you in last 45 days feel that your life has positively impacted to you? That you learned something, you enjoyed staying with your family, you learned some other things which you always wanted to do. If it is 45 days has been positively impacted, write P. And if you feel that last 45 days has impacted negatively, write N. So how many of you?
So there are in the chat box. We have to find an N.
There are 2-3 N's which we can see. You want me to name them, sir?
No, you don't have to. I mean, I don't want to get into their negativity. So
no, just to let you know, so that you
stock marketing investing. So good. I think that's what I was expecting, and everybody expects that. This is why I want to do this, because it's positively impacted all of us. So we are mentally all positive, and we feel that this is a little bit of break time all of us had got, and there's a lot of positivity in terms of whatever we have accomplished. We were able to really take a regroup ourselves, and that's what happened with me also. I was able to regroup and reach out, and I created another program called ECG, what I call engage and communicate and guide people, and that's what I suggest all of you should do. Engage, communicate, and guide. Well, ECG, like you do a ECG on a body, you do it in your business. So now I'll get into a little bit on the principles of entrepreneurship, which I believed in my so many years of success and failures. I will like to talk about. I'll give you some 5 points which are very important if you can implement in your businesses or your enterprises. I will like to share with you. And also I tell you, again, staying on the failure side, because why I want to touch upon failure, because sometimes we set wrong examples. I'll give you one aspect of my life. There are some mentors of mine, I don't want to name them on the forum. And I got a chance to work with these, so to say, Indian blue-eyed corporate world top honchos, and I worked very closely with them. They were like family, still family to me, and I worked on and seeing their journey. I spent time with them. I had one of the entrepreneurs. I remember I used to fly with him from Bombay to London, and overnight flight, land in the morning in London, spend the whole day working hard. And this was a millionaire, he was, another billionaire. And we never went to a hotel. We used to change at the airport and work, and then come back in the evening and take a flight back. So they were hardworking entrepreneurs. And I know some of them actually failed. In last 2 years, we saw some bankruptcies. We saw companies going, burst. But I never really have any disrespect for that. Your maths can go wrong. You can have difficult times. Your industry can have difficult times. Your own business model sometimes can deviate. But that should not deviate you for your purpose. Your purpose is building an enterprise, and that should always stay around. And one of the messages I give every entrepreneur is, don't worry too much on these failures. It's very temporary. It will come, it will go. The purpose is very important. So 5 rules which I feel, I call it 5 C's of entrepreneurships, which is very important and which has worked for me. First is, whenever you start whatever you're doing, if you have a plan B, C, D, just take it out. Close all doors. The first C is close all doors which are open and have only one door. And that's your last resort. And if you have that situation, you'll be very, very successful. I'll give you my example. When I came back from US to India, I had this idea of franchising. And I feel that most of my businesses, why they failed, because every time any business I started, I had something which was running right. And when I started any new business, and this business would never take off the first day, and 2-3 months, I will go back to what I was doing because that was already making money for me. So I never put the attention it required to build the new business up. So the new business never got up. And I will only return to my core business. And this happens with a lot of business owners I know. They are never able to start something new. Why they are not able to do something new? Because they return back to what is working for them. They go to their comfort zone. They go to their comfort zone back. And as they go to comfort zone, they're never able to do new thing. So if any idea is coming to your mind, anything which you want to do in your life, anything which is your goal sheet, first you need to tell that I will close all doors and this is the last resort for me. And then you will be very successful in life. I'll give you an example. Then when I started franchise India, and I used to run this telecom business, I closed that. I closed all other businesses I used to run. And I came down to a point where I was absolutely broke. I remember we were printing our first magazine, Franchising World, and my younger brother was also with me. And because I was young and I had a passion of these, the most expensive phones, because I was in the phone business. And I had to pay the printer bill. So what I had to do was actually sell my phone. And I still remember that I had no other alternative to pay that maybe 18,000-20,000 rupees, which was paid to be paid at that time, and no money available with me. And I had to pay the printer to get my magazine. And the last resort was whatever I had assets, I sold those. And I actually didn't have all these things. It might be very small, but emotionally for me, I put my last bet on the table. I said, this is the last thing I'm doing. And after that, I have nothing. And God will always be kind to you. God would always be kind to you, that whenever you put your last bet, you start winning from there. So first C for me is close all the doors. If you want to be successful, you just have to give it everything away and say, I will make it only out of this. And you will make it. And absolutely you will make it. I can dead sure tell you that. Anything which you do. And that's why people have been successful. If you see the stories of people who landed up in New York, they had nothing. They slept out of parks and so on. So we hear all these stories of these great entrepreneurs who had nothing. And they became so big because they closed everything. They had no bounce back idea. There was no plan B, plan C, plan D. Nothing. They wanted to make the plan A work. And they made it to work, right? So first, C is close all the doors. Second is count on your strength. So what is your strength? I'll tell you that in entrepreneurship, we divide into 3 parts. People who have ideation, great in ideas. Some people are very good in ideas. And some people are very good in what I call incubation. And then third, we are people who are very, very good in operations. And these can be these 3 different things. And some people are extremely good in operations, but they don't know how to create a new idea. And they don't also sometimes have ability to incubate something, bring out of the ground. If I have to look at myself, honestly, I'm in between. I'm not an idea guy. I saw this franchising was not created by me. It was running in US. I just borrowed it. But I'm good at building it up. And I got some very successful people around me who can run operations. I'm not also good in operations sometimes. And actually, most of the times, I'm not good in operations. So you need to find out what is your strength area. What is your strength? Are you a person who has a great idea? Are you a good incubator? Or you are a great operations guy? And count on your strength. If you're a great operations guy, go out and talk to somebody who you can help in terms of building their operations, go deep down and run large operations and so on and so forth. If you're an incubation idea, maybe you can take somebody who has idea and take him ahead. And if you're an idea guy, then you need to find the other two. And sometimes very, very, very few people in the world have 2 or 3 qualities out of that. So second C for me is count on your strength. Third is what I call the create your personal board. I sent Vivek Bhai also one presentation, and which is how to build your own personal brand. It's very, very important these times that every entrepreneur has to build their own brand. And if it is not circulated, I will like him to circulate to all of you. I just did a presentation. It's very important now that everybody has to build his own brand, especially the times we are living in. People would, this is the era of personal branding. This is the era of building your own equity, your own market price, and so on and so forth. So build yourself a brand. So why I call it personal board? Because you need to have, most of the time, especially small entrepreneurs, have only one-way communication of direction, which means that we go to our offices, we have accountant, we have marketing guy, we have other people, we only give directions to them. Nobody gives us suggestion. So we have a lacking of getting any kind of feedback, any kind of genuine suggestion, and so on and so forth. So we lack that piece. And BNI is a great network because you all can interact and share with each other and so on and so forth. So you need to also create your own small BNI, which is your personal board. Maybe 5-6 people who are your sounding board, people who you can put your own suggestions, and they can suggest you in your business, and you can take some guidance from them. So create your own personal board, which is the third C. Fourth, which I think, ruthlessly capitalize yourself. I don't know, you're seeing these days, Mukesh Ambani is just on a ride of raising money. You know, this guy impresses me. I had a fortune to work with his office 3 times, directly with his office. I was part of doing Geo with him. I did Reliance petrol pumps at that time, and we also had working in some kind of Reliance retail. They are so methodical. He is perfect guy to understand the timing, and he never shies away to capitalize his company. And I think a lot of small businesses have this problem to admit that they need capitalization. You know, they don't admit. They live in this fear to tell people that I need capital. You need to be shameless about it. You know, anybody would know that how much chest he was sitting on, and I think in Indian corporate, anybody who had money was Mukesh Ambani. But in this difficult time, the only person who's openly asking for money world over, anybody can invest into his company, is him. So he understands that there should be never a problem to capitalize your own business. Okay, small businesses have this big problem. They live in this whole syndrome that they don't want to tell even the friend that, look, I need money. You should be shameless about it. And if you need money for your business and you want money for your growth, just go out and ask anybody. Anywhere you go, anybody you meet, any person you do, tell that, look, I'm raising money. Would you like to partner with me? Would you like to raise with me? Sell your idea shamelessly to every single person and keep capitalizing yourself. Because entrepreneurship is all about how much capital you can raise for your own company. And the fourth point for me is the C, which is how do you capitalize yourself? And finally, which is the fifth C for me, how do you combine what I call stability and purpose? You know, this is a fifth point. How do you combine these two things? You know, sometimes we as Indians have to find stability. We need to have peace of mind that our bills are paid and our enterprises are running right and so on and so forth. But we also have to find purpose. I feel a lot of people spend all their life in this stability part of it. It's just trying to do that. But there's no purpose. Why were they doing it? What was the larger purpose of so and so? So unless and until you are able to find these two things together and marry them, you will not find a perfect entrepreneurship. And purpose can be not complex. You don't have to be Naran Murthy. Let's be honest. You can find your own purpose. You can do whatever you like and the way you like, and so on and so forth. But there has to be a strong purpose, and it should come from your own values. So these are 5 points. I'll just repeat it for everybody if you not noted. Close all doors, and this only should work for you is plan A. There is no plan B, no plan C, no plan D. Second, count on your strengths. Find what you are good at, your idea guy, incubation, or operations. Create your own personal board. People who are sounding board to you, people you can reflect on, you can rely on, and they're always with you to give you the fair and clear advice. Fourth, capitalize yourself. You will always need money, and this never short. Keep raising, shamelessly asking for your company or your enterprise. Keep raising capital for your business and your growth. And fifth is combine your stability and the purpose. So that's a message from the 5, so to say, C's. And now I'll give you what I learned from one very learned entrepreneur, and he runs about a $4 billion fund. And I had a fortune to work with him in some business opportunity. And I asked him that, what is your mantra for success? And he gave me one quadrant, which I leave you with that thought. And that quadrant is about dividing 4 things in your life, which would be very important. And it's not a message for young entrepreneurs. Don't try to do it, because a lot of young people start getting into social things and so on and so forth. And for young entrepreneurs, the only thing which you should be in your mind, how to make a lot of money. That's it. Don't go here and there. And the social issues and a lot of other areas can all wait. It will come to your life whenever you need it. At this stage, what you need most is the most desirable car you want to drive, the farmhouse you always wanted to buy. Do all that. Making money should never be a sin. Making money or making wealth should be respected. I don't know why India don't respect that, but Indians should respect making money. People should have a lot of entrepreneurs in India should make a lot of money. But as you go along, and if you want to discover success in your life, you need to divide this into 4 quadrants. The first quadrant would sit into what I call family. So all that now we learned in last 45 days is how important our families are to us. And they're always important, but now I think we are all in an emotional cycle, so it's more important, and we all value that. The second quadrant is what I call your professional life. So family sits here and professional life sits here. And the second, this quadrant is below signed is called social. And I'll probably try to draw it for you if you can understand. So I don't know, you can read it. So this is family, this is professional, this is social, and this is legacy. So what happens, these 4 quadrants, all 4 are important in your life. So how much you do for your family, which we all do, but sometimes you overspend too much on family, you leave your social, right? Sometimes you are too professional and you leave your legacy. Legacy comes from what you leave behind. So people who are successful in life have all 4 balanced, and this is difficult. Sometimes you will, some phase of your life, you will continue to focus more on one thing, and sometimes you focus on one thing, and sometimes you focus on one thing. And but anybody who's successful in life would have all 4 quadrants right.
I will just ask now with some questions. So we would also we had some questions before you joined. So people wanted to know how you foresee the franchisee business, in the coming days, the retail part especially.
So franchising always grows out of recession. You might be feeling that I'm a little biased, but I can give you reasons why this grows. Why? Because all these recessions bring in a new set of business entrepreneurs, people who lost jobs, people who want to change the career, uh, a lot of these people who want to have some safe incomes to start from. And so the franchising would rise. So especially the first layer would come, which would call the micro franchising, the small businesses, cash businesses, which would start rising. So everybody's thinking that if he had one small departmental store, I advise one company out of Ahmedabad called Fresco. Recently, there's a vegetable store in Ahmedabad,
Yes, yes.
and he's young guys. This is a 6-month old company, and I spoke to him last month when this whole lockdown started. He says, I am in a boom business, so every day I have actually more demand than I can fulfill. So all these small businesses, these micro businesses, the pharmacies, the supermarkets, the services, small services, education, healthcare, these all businesses would start having a big spike. And then it will come to low impact businesses, and then mid impact, and then high impact. So franchising would grow. Franchising would do extremely well. I think we're already seeing a positive mood for people to look at right opportunities, but we'll start with very micro businesses and then go to a little bit and then further structure. But India is a big opportunity for franchising for many reasons, because franchising brings India is a mid-risk kind of a mindset. So franchising is all about businesses are all mid-risk. So you want to take something which is already proven and partner with a brand and so on and so forth. So that gives you assurance. So we're seeing a lot of people getting into that. So we're very excited about franchising growing.
Okay. We have a question from Shubham Sangvi. How do we create a franchisee model for a distribution firm who wants to expand to other territories?
So franchising is two forms. One is a distribution, which is you want to distribute your product to another market, which we conventionally call distributors or resellers or stockists or whatever you want to call it. And second is what we call a business format franchising, which means that it's more McDonald way, where the whole conduct is also very similar and the same way it is conducted. So distribution it's very easy. If you have a product which you want to take it to other markets, you obviously can make state-wise or district-wise distributors who would stock your product and further sell it to directly to consumers, or they would sell it to resellers, and the resellers would sell it to the consumers.
Okay. There's a question from Shiv Shankar Agrawal. What is the idea for tomorrow and future about franchising model in service segment like laundry or saloon?
Yeah, so this is a big segment. I personally feel that last era was modernization of retail. Modernization of retail means any environment you went was modernized to a branded environment. That was a last decade. Now everything you consume in services would become branded. So even a gardener coming to your home would become branded. So even a plumber coming to your home would become branded. The air conditioning guy who would come to your home would become branded. The paint guy who would come to your home, like Asian Paint has started a dial-up paint, so it'll become branded. So services is a big demand, both on what I call direct to home, direct to institution. Both services would become very big. So today we are in last 1 month we have been making at least 6 companies ready for disinfection alone, which we will launch in weeks time, because as India would start opening up, everybody would need disinfection services. So we're making franchise models on that, and there's a huge demand for that.
Okay. So there's a question from Rohan Saraf. Online retail versus offline retail. What is the changes you see post lockdown?
So good question. So super hyper local would be in, which would mean super hyper local means that anything which can be delivered in less than 10 minutes to you. That would be the way forward. And the biggest platform take my word on this, the biggest platform for your e-commerce would no more be Amazon and other things. It'll be WhatsApp. So everything would go WhatsApp. So your connectivity, because we are all connected, the biggest platform which connects us, if you see on your phone and you find that you've been on, they tell you meter, it's a how much time you spend on social media, it tells you 70%, 80%. And if you go deeper, you find almost about 90% of that time was WhatsApp. So that would become the biggest commerce for you. So when you open up your WhatsApp and it'll say, what is available in my neighborhood, from food to dry cleaning to cleaning to anything, any services. And then you just send the message directly and that lands up its store next by, and they would deliver goods to you. So even in our real estate business, I think WhatsApp would be playing a very big important role. So everything would be WhatsApp. So it's people think that they're doing, Facebook is doing charity and not charging us to use WhatsApp for many years. They are very smart guys. They're making you habitual, and then they would suddenly start taking money out of your wallet.
Okay. There's a question from Sajjal Banerjee. What's your opinion on marketing strategies that's going to change post-COVID? Everybody will be having a tremendous pressure of finance. How do you think it's going to affect the marketing activities of companies?
So very good question. So take one principle from me, that which I said when this whole lockdown started. I suggested that in these times market shrink, but market share should not. So please try to understand carefully. Market shrink means that overall consumption would go down, no denial on that, which means that there were 100,000 people who were looking to buy air conditioning. Now it will reduce to 10,000. That's all right. But there are people who would need air conditioning, including my own home. One of the ACs has gone bad and I need one air conditioner. So I am a buyer, right? And I'm sure a lot of people out of you have something gone wrong in your home, you want to buy it, or something what you want to do. Even in real estate, people now want a better home, and they want home. Now I'm reading a study that people now want homes which has a small study room also, where they can use and work out of a small home office. Every apartment should come with a home office. That's a new demand which would be created, and people would like to shift. So there is a demand there. Now what would happen is a lot of people would just stay and wait for the time to come. But there would be few companies who in the shrink market also would increase their market share. So you need to see how you bring your market share up even in this shrink market. And if you are able to improve your market share in the shrink market, you are permanent there. You will continue to rise, because when the market would go from 10,000 to back to 100,000, you will be there. You will be part of the expanded structure. So at this stage, great marketers are worried about how they continue to increase their market share in the shrink market also. So I think that should be your strategy, how you address that strategy. A lot of people are thinking different things. They're thinking, can I change the product? Can I bring a new product? Can I address this? They're all wasting their time. They will actually waste their time. I know somebody who was in home textile business, started making masks. It's stupidity. It has no purpose. To me, it's just like trying to be clever and divide your energies. You should think that still people need bed sheets. Somebody would need bed sheets, right? How can I increase my market share in bed sheet rather than making face masks? Nobody has credibility on you. You're not 3M. You don't make face masks. Don't waste your time in doing things which are just being opportunist on these 2 months. Think of what you are good at and continue to be there and find your customer even in these times and how you can address that.
Superb. So there's a question from Shiv Shankar Agrawal. 3 tips for franchisors towards his franchisee offerings in service segment.
So 3 tips for if you want in the service sector, you want to take your business. The 3 tips are, what I call, there are fundamentals to franchising. I think franchising works on what I call three big principles. One is called sustainability. How do you make your business model? Because you transfer it to somebody else, it should be sustainable for you, and it's also sustainable for a partner you bringing in. How the business model and your economics works on that. Second is scalability. How do you continue to scale that business? And third is predictability. Predictability would mean that how do you bring science to your business model, that the franchisee understands how to get customers, how to service those customers, what is the margin available in that. So if you are able to do what I call predictability, sustainability, and scalability in any business, you can be franchise ready. It's not really necessarily that you are a service or a product. In both businesses, you can do that.
So there's a question from Rohan Saraf again. How can an individual business owner decide when and how he should take the franchisee route to grow?
So if your business model has enough margin, first of all, to share with another entrepreneur, and he or she can be equally or more successful, then you can franchise. The only thing you need to do is bring some standardization in your business model, and bring some controls over your business model, and build strong documentation, your legal contracts and so on and so forth, and then you can really franchise your business. Franchising can fit into every industry, any industry you think. From the biggest brand in the world, is the biggest brand in the world, it's called Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is franchised. All their bottling plants are franchised. PepsiCo is franchised. To anything which we consume on a day-to-day basis. It can be services, it can be a salon, it can be a kids education, preschools. The biggest example I give, India has produced as a good example of franchising is DPS schools. So DPS is a phenomenal example. It's one of the businesses we have exported. We have normally import opportunities from outside, and DPS was a great example where we have exported our opportunity in many countries. DPS runs in now I think 30 countries globally. So anything can be franchised by the time you're proven and you have enough margins to be shared with the franchise.
Okay, very well taken. There's a question from Harshil. How can, on your 5 C's, how can one be sure with the one option and closing all other options at initial level? Isn't it too risky?
Yeah, it is. It is risky. So it can be. So let me answer this in a different way. If you've not done your preparation right, which means that you've not spent enough time in building your case on a business model which you want to do, then it is risky. And I can tell you that one of the problems I find in Indian entrepreneurs, there are two problems in Indian entrepreneurs I find. We are very hardworking people. हमें को बोले ना 12 बजे रात तक काम करो और सुबह 5 बजे लग जाओ, हम कर सकते हैं, हम करते ही हैं. एंड आई गिव एग्जांपल टू एवरीबॉडी कि आप अगर लंदन जाओ या अमेरिका जाओ और इंडियन स्टोर ओनर हो, और वो लोग कभी कभी गुजराती होते हैं या पंजाबी होते हैं, तो दे ऑल रन दैट. अगर उनको आखिरी भी एक आदमी पता हो ना कि एक आदमी दूध का पैकेट लेने आएगा, तो वो स्टोर खोल के रखता है. सो वी आर वेरी हार्ड वर्किंग पीपल. इन इंडिया वी लूज ऑन 2 points. And these 2 points are very critical. One, we don't have a business plan. We don't write a business plan. We get into business, we don't have a plan. So that's one big problem for a lot of Indian businesses I see. Second big problem is that capitalization. Most of the businesses fail just because not that the business was not right or the entrepreneurs are not working hard. They fail because it was not enough capitalized. पैसा ही नहीं था उतना जितना चाहिए था उस बिजनेस के लिए, और उसको हमने कैपिटलाइज भी नहीं किया. सो ये दो चीजें हमें यंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, यंग स्टार्टअप से सीखनी चाहिए. तो ये दो चीजें हमें कैसे अचीव करनी है. देन एवरी आइडिया, एवरी बिजनेस आइडिया व्हाट यू क्रिएट, यू विल ऑलवेज बी वेरी वेरी सक्सेसफुल इन लाइफ.
Very true and well noted by me also. There's a question from Anand Agrawal. What made you invest in Remax and why?
I should ask Vivek bhai. He was first investor, then I would. I mean, he invested 10 years back and I invested only 2.5 years back. So this answer, Vivek bhai, you should give. Why you invested in Remax?
Yeah, I would say it's a big brand and there is a great network around the globe. So it makes it makes easy for everyone to do business. Like you said, that we have to work together. So I think this is a great model to work with. And financially, in this is a give us gain policy. Like we in BNI follow a give us gain policy. In Remax also we follow the give us gain policy. We make our associates entrepreneurs, and we love to make entrepreneurs. So now you can take it from here. So,
Yeah, sure. I did it because I'm both things I like. I mean, I should say that I'm a born broker, so I take this as a pride. A lot of people tell me, don't call yourself broker, call consultant, but I call myself broker. So I think I feel that it might be business broking, franchise broking, real estate broking. I love it. I feel that that's something which is natural to me. And here was an opportunity to partner with the world's number one company. There's a great culture as an organization. It is a phenomenal organization. I was part of this organization when it entered India. I worked with my partner that time more as a supplier from Franchise India. It is a phenomena. It empowers a lot of people. It empowers people to build their life and their careers and so on and so forth. And that's what's my belief and continue to be my belief. And so I jumped on an opportunity when it presented me, and I became partner with Remax India.
Okay, so there's a question by 2-3 people, so I'm summing it up. How professionals like doctors, teachers, or lawyers or professors can start franchisee in their business?
So I think franchising has two parts. One is brand. If you have a brand, like a greatest example in healthcare is a gentleman called Dr. Lal. We started working with Dr. Lal when he used to run a small clinic in Connaught Place, and we approached him. He used to run a diagnostic clinic, and now it's India's largest diagnostic clinic. So, and it's still called Dr. Lal. So, if you have any professional service and you have build your credibility in that, and you have some methodology which is with you, and you scale, so obviously it can be franchised. All major professional services in the world are franchised, and I think India would also next 10 years see a big success. Dr. Batra is another success, and I can give you tons of examples of people being professional services being very, very successful. Actually, the problem in Indian businesses sometimes is that we are very narrow. We think so. Businesses and enterprises have to be divided, and this I will give it to, especially for young people who are there on that time. Should be divided into two different parts. One is income businesses. Income businesses is what you take home every month. I think most of the entrepreneurs, especially in India, focus on this. They just focus on income businesses. वो बही खाते की तरह चलाते हैं. इतना पैसा आया, इतना पैसा खर्चा, इतना पैसा अपने घर ले गए. तो ये income business होता है. और दूसरा होता है value creation. Value creation is somewhere else built. It is all about subscribers you build, their life consumption cycles, and so on and so forth. So, बहुत सारे businesses I know are in the income business. I mean, 99% are income business, and very few are in value creation. I think this is the right time that all of you need to think through that all my life I cannot spend in income business. I need to create value. And that's what happens when people like Dr. Batra or Dr. Lal shift their focus from income. उनके clinic तो चल ही रहे थे, profitable थे, but they thought that this is not enough. They want to shift this to value. And now look at the enterprises. They are 1,000 crore, 2,000 crore, 3,000 crore. And now Dr. Lal don't have to go to his own clinic also, and still runs. Still he makes, the enterprise makes a lot of money. So how do you find yourself that you don't go to your own office or your own factory, your own business, and the business run by itself? And then only the value creation is done. Otherwise, all your life you will spend in income creation.
Okay, and I will take a last question. So what is the future of luxury retail according to you?
Luxury retail, I don't think is having any change. Luxury is meant for people who have disposable monies, and there are a lot of people who have that. I mean, While I would say that it is a hold on time a little bit. But if tomorrow BMW comes with say 25% discount on the cars, I'm sure a lot of people out of this group also would buy. So luxury is not going anywhere. It's just about hold on time. So we're not lost money. We're just not spending money. So we are in this stage of what I call hold on period. And rather I would say in real estate, luxury will start first. And then low cost homes. People think that low cost would come first, but actually luxury would come first. Because a lot of people would see this opportunity to invest at the start, and first would real estate, and then would be other things, automobile, and I mean in China actually, Wuhan, when opened up the first day, the Hermes store, which is the most expensive handbag, was sold out. So I don't know how the Chinese behave, but I don't China.
Very true. I also heard the same story of Wuhan.
Yeah, Wuhan is I don't know how much is a true story, but they give these stories.
Thank you for speaking to BNI Gannicus.
For sure. So thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Gaurav.